I'm just going to introduce our performers. Cookie Segelstein is the founder of the band Veretski Pass and the fiddler with many other top klezmer bands. She's taught workshops throughout the world and has been featured in an ABC documentary and a film starring Robert De Niro. So if you have questions about Robert De Niro, you'll have to point them towards Cookie. Josh Horowitz plays button, accordion, and other instruments and founded the band Budowitz and has played with many amazing musicians such as Vienna Chamber Orchestra, Theodore Bikel, and Itzhak Perlman. So let's welcome Cookie Segelstein and Josh Horowitz for an amazing, well, we'll see in a moment. Will it be amazing, right? Thank you for being here, and we look forward to hearing you.
Thank you. We'll play first and talk then, I think, right? Okay. Thank you. That was a set that we did called, well, the first one is called the Blackgrass Hora, and I'm going to actually let Josh tell you where it's from because he found it.
Well, no, it was from a little travel book from Romania from 1906, and there was a couple of printings of tunes in there, and this had words to it about the black grass and a dirty shirt, and I don't remember how they tied together, but we did some, and a dog and sheep, and those are our sound effects. We push a little button down at the bottom of our feet, and we get the dog sounds.
Sleep, Luca. And then the next tune that we led into, the faster tune, was called Orphan Runaway. And that's actually one of my compositions. And I dedicated it to a great, I don't know how many greats there are, aunt, who in Veretski, where my father is from, ran away as she was being sequestered for her wedding. She was not happy about the choice made for her of the groom, as it was not her choice. So she ran away. She had one living parent. I think that her father was, I don't remember whether it was her father or mother who had passed away, but she left it at the middle of the night with a family goat, never to be heard from again. So I just called that tune The Orphan Runaway. So that's that one.
Drushpen now.
Yeah, we're going to do a tune that we call Drushpen. It was one that we recorded with Budowitz in
2008 or
a long
something.
time ago.
Yeah.
We did a live recording in Geneva and Zurich, and this was kind of my arrangement of two Romanian songs that were, one of which was in 2, and the other which I think was in 3, and we made the whole thing in 3. So it's basically 2 Romanian songs that we call Drushpen, which means lullaby. Okay, here we go. that little tag on there was actually a Hutzel piece, a Hutzel tune that we call, what do we call it?
Song of the Wanderer.
Song of the Wanderer. And
which has never been used before as a title.
Ever. And why don't you tell a little bit about the Hutzel?
Oh, well, so that's an ethnicity that's in the Carpathian Mountains, sharing music with Jews in that region. So there are a lot of crossover melodies and things like that. And this tune is actually played by Hungarian minorities in that region. Hutzel melody played by Hungarian minorities in the same region, mixing together with Jewish music. So it has words to it too, which I don't remember. But yeah. Hence the word song of the Wanderer.
Right. We love co-territorial music. We love the music that was present in where Jews lived and worked and were sometimes kicked out of. And we just love all the different flavors of music: Polish, Romanian, Moldavian, Hutzel, Ukrainian, Hungarian even. Although the relationship between Hungarian music and klezmer music is...
The what?
Hungarian and klezmer
Hungarian?
music.
Well, there are pieces that are played in
both.
Yes, by both. It's just on the other side of the Carpathians, so
right.
The Carpathian Mountains kind of form a geographical boundary of what we now call klezmer music, but that's kind of an artificial term anyway.
And I'm unencumbered by the need to tell the truth, so that's why I turn to Josh when it's time
to embellish on the
non-truth. Try to just give you some historical basis, because if I don't know it, I'll make it up. So it's probably not a great idea. But the music that I grew up with my father was really more Ukrainian, because in Veretski the main ethnicity were Ukrainians, and so most of the music or the style that I grew up with has that style. So hence a lot of double string playing, some rhythmic bowing that kind of leaks its way into any style that I play. So we're going to do a set. By the way, the first set that we played is on our latest CD that we recorded in 2019 and was released in 2020, or was it 2018 and released in 2019?
I think that's
that one. And with our wonderful friend Joel Rubin playing clarinet, and it was recorded with a grant from the Milken Foundation of American Jewish Music. So we were able to record it at UCLA in this really fancy recording studio, which was really nice. And they donated.
It's nice not to be in a barn for a change.
Yeah, so they donated that space and that time in the recording studio to us, which was really wonderful. It was great. And then the Drushpan and the Hutzel piece were recorded, as I said, on the Budowitz live recording, which was released, I think, in 2008, maybe 2007. And this next one we're going to do is on our latest record, like the first set on the Magid Chronicles, which is the UCLA funded project. And it's a mixture of, I'm just looking at it, actually, the first piece comes from the field recordings of Sofia Magid, who was a ethnographer who went through Belarus and northern Ukraine with her team and wax cylinders, recording over 600 melodies, and we picked out several of them and used it in this project, and then we embellished around it. And so the first tune comes from that, and matter of fact, there was a part missing, so we kind of just made it up. Is this the one with the part missing?
No, but that's okay.
Oh, okay.
We can say that.
All right. And this is the E minor one, right? I think. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. that last one was that very last bagpipey one was written by Josh. He calls it Druzhtanz. And we just did a project with the San Francisco Symphony. They have a series they call Currents. And what they do is they collaborate with, Philip Glass Klezmer Lenore writes. Kind of, that's right. So they collaborate with traditional musicians. So they've done with Mexican musicians and Native American musicians, Chinese,
Indian, Persian.
Right.
Yeah, they got a whole series going.
So the way it works is that we basically, they either hire an arranger to take the traditional music and make it work for whatever ensemble that is decided upon. But because Josh's background is composition theory and counterpoint, he became the arranger and composer. So it was very cool. He worked on, matter of fact, this last piece was part of that, this last Druzhtanz, and he scored it for piccolo, English horn, harp, vibraphone, and
viola, violin, cello, and then us.
Right. And it was really challenging because, and there was a conductor, because we realized that, because we all had to sit, it was videotaped, not in front of a live audience, but we were in their black box in Davies Hall. It's called Zellerbach. And we were about 6 feet apart from everybody. The wind players had to be in another room with a video feed. So we figured it would really be difficult without a conductor. And what we found is that they were wonderful. It was a really wonderful experience. But they wanted to do things like dynamics. They wanted to have some pianos and fortes. And we looked at each other and we were like, what?
It's such a bourgeois concept.
Well, so there were times that they said, can we just do this one as an echo of that one? And, after being together as a group for 20 years, we said, well, we just never really thought of that. I mean, so we kind of explained to them that much of this music was played outside, and you didn't have, the luxury of adding musical things like dynamics, crescendos, and all these kind of things. So he said, well, how should I think about this? I said, all out all the time is really how we think about it. But they basically, so we gave in on a couple of things. We did on this one, we did a couple of little piano forte things just to make the conductor, who was very nice, happy. But what was interesting is that we had to, there were some parts, not in this particular tune, that we like to have the melody. As I explained in the workshop today, sometimes the melody is pushing ahead of the bass. And so the bass might be giving a specific rhythm, and the melody's a little bit ahead. And part of that is because with music that's for dancing, the dancers will tend to slow down. And so if the lead player is pushing a tiny bit, the chaos is a little bit more controlled. So I had to hold my horses on that one. I had to kind of hold back a little bit because the sound engineer this voice would come over on the speaker saying, Cookie, I think you're a little ahead. And I said, I know. And then, so we kind of had to, explain what the deal was. And it was really an interesting experience, but we really enjoyed it. It will be released on June 29th.
July 29th.
That's what I meant. July 29th. So anyway, this next tune is one of the ones that actually, we played the first part of it. It's kind of an improvisatory, kind of Doina-like, that leads to something in two, and then there's about 5 tunes in this one. And the tune that I taught today in the workshop is in the middle of this whole suite. We call this So the Sparrows Will Come. Okay. Workout. I think I'm gonna have some chocolate after this. So, when I was about Max's age, I was handed a fiddle, not this one, and expected to play for all of the refugees. My parents were Holocaust survivors, and all of their friends were Holocaust survivors, and there were always a lot of languages in our house. They would argue with each other in languages that they couldn't speak, but they could understand. So Polish would be coming across, Hungarian, which nobody but the Hungarians understood, including my parents spoke Hungarian. And I remember one time my father came to get me. I was hiding away in my room playing with my Roy Rogers and Dale Evans Ranch set. And he said, "Come out here and play some music." And I said, "No, because I'm playing with, my cowboy stuff. I'm playing with my cowboy stuff." And he said, no, they're going to start arguing. You come out here and play some music. So I was forced at about 6 and 7 to come out, and because I had to play the songs that he taught me. And he taught me the songs in a very quick way, which is yelling. If you teach by yelling, the musicians learn very fast, because who wants to hear yelling? So I would have to come out and play these songs. And I remember coming out, and my mother was yelling at one of the other refugees in Hungarian. And she said, the woman she was yelling at, they were having an argument about something. And this family friend said, "I don't know what you said, but I don't like it," because she couldn't understand her at all. So I was then trotted out and asked to play, forced to play actually, the kind of music we're playing right now. Not as sophisticated, of course, and I wasn't doing any of the ornaments I learned later, or let's just call applied freely, with not too much historical worry about the authenticity of it. But and then I played. I just wanted to play and get out of there. So I wanted nothing to do with this music at all when I was growing up. It was like being forced to. I was the dancing monkey in the house that broke up fights with playing something from back home. So when I started playing this music again in 1988, because I had my first child, and there was a need for me to kind of examine our heritage and present it in a way that wasn't just the Holocaust. So fast forward, playing lots of gigs in the New York City area with my friend Adrian Greenbaum, with the Capella guys, with KCB, and then was brought to Albuquerque in 2002 to teach and play, and that's where I met him. And it was kind of, at least for me, it was love at first sight for me personally. I'm
Me
not
too.
speaking for him, but that was almost. Oh, and there he goes. That was almost 20 years ago, and here we are. And you stop that barking, Luca Segelstein, get over here. Anyway, so we're gonna play a tune. I think what we'll do, if you don't mind, we're just gonna kind of go through our set. I think we'll play maybe 2 more, maybe 3 more. I don't know. We'll see what happens. See how the dog behaves. We'll do the Idelson set. We have a tenant moving in, so Luca's very watchful, and his deafness has gone away today because he's usually pretty deaf. You want to do the Kozak thing?
That's this.
I know which one that is. You can do that without me. That's okay.
Which one is I doing with you?
Well, we're doing the keep
Yeah.
playing the doina. Go keep playing. that first
Something.
that was some stuff. That was taken from an actually collection by Idelson. What's his first name?
Abraham.
Avram Idelson. And the first tune was so interesting because a lot of folks said, I think there's a wrong note in there. This part.
No, this part.
Oh. But we love the wrong note, so we just kept it in there. And then we paired it with a tune right from the Ukraine, the border between Ukraine and Poland. So it's kind of Polish, kind of Ukrainian. And the last tune that was on there was definitely a polka. So that's kind of like what I love to play almost more than anything. And it's boring for everybody else because all the guys do is play oompa. But so what I think we'll do is we will play another tune that we'll do 2 more sets. We're going to do kind of a slow one, and then we'll do a fast one. And I know a couple of my students are on here, and they will recognize the very last piece on this whole program. I'm just going to say that right now. Also, this comes from some material that was gathered by Oscar Kohlberg, who was a priest in the, what is it, at the 1800s? Is that the 19th century?
19th century.
Yeah,
Early
okay, there you
19th
go.
century.
19th century. He said that a folk, a nationality could be characterized by their traditions. So he went throughout the Polish lands, and gathered melodies. He gathered stories. He gathered recipes. Yes, jokes. Just basically, he went through and cataloged what he heard. He had. I think he had, I don't know whether the wax cylinder or whether he just transcribed the melodies. He transcribed them. There are almost 100 volumes of his collections. It's the Oscar Kohlberg collections, and they're really amazing. And the snippets in there, there are very few, maybe 2 handfuls that he calls Jewish melodies. And he felt that, like Bartok felt, that Jews were an urban peoples. And so they should be studied, but he wasn't particularly interested in doing that. So, but he gathered a few Jewish melodies, and particularly a couple of them, especially the one that I arranged from the very first opening of this next set, because he knew they were Jewish. It was a Jewish melody because the musicians were playing it in front of the manger scene that was out in the yard in front of the church at Christmas. Well, I know that sounds funny, but who else is working on Christmas? I know more hymns than some of my non-Jewish friends. I can sing Lutheran hymns. I can sing lots of Catholic stuff except the Mass. But so I'm not sure why that was. Well, actually, I think the professional cast of musicians in the cities in Poland were Jewish a lot, right?
Among others.
Among others, yeah. There was a professional, yeah. So I took about 6 notes of that theme and turned it into a little bit of a improvisation, and then we have a couple of some Hasidic melodies that go after that. Okay, this is E, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you to Ed. We're going to do our last set now, and thank you to Ed for inviting us.
Yes, thank you.
The Fiddle-online COVID concerts was our first COVID concert that we did last year and workshop when we were all in such shock. And so Ed gathered his resources together and put together these concerts for musicians that were freaking out, and we were two of them that were freaking out. So thank you very much, and thanks to, I know it's a beautiful day outside and people are getting very Zoom weary, and I really appreciate everybody that's here. And if anybody has any questions, throw them in the chat, and we will either answer them or, well, no, we'll answer them. So we're going to play our last set, and it's also from our Polish album called Poland a Gilgul, Poland a Transformation. And it's a bunch of Polish tunes and a couple of Oscar Kohlberg tunes actually also. Okay.
So, thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Ed. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for everybody.
Woo!
You. Hey, hey, hey.